Hello, implementers. My name is Anthony English, and this is episode number 10 of Learn to Implement, where we teach you how to fight procrastination, manage perfectionism, and implement some of those business ideas you've always been learning about. Today, procrastination, I want to give you three, maybe four tools, methods to get you past procrastination. Because when you have a really good idea, you make a start on it, and then you think, I just don't know enough. I need to do some more research. I need to learn more. And then the people that you learn from are people who are maybe some of the best, and they have got YouTube videos and they have got courses and books, and you think, I've got to learn from them. Well, part of the problem with that is that they're going to be too good, and you're going to see the gap between where they are and where you are. And so I'm going to suggest three things, three tools, three approaches, three things that you can draw on when you have a task to do or a project that you need to work on. And the three are these: automation, systems, and habits. And maybe I'll add a fourth one. Okay, so first of all, automation. I'm a big fan of doing less. And so I have pretty much all of my accounts that set up to auto pay. Now, that's got a huge advantage because it does not make sense for me to be spending time writing a check or logging into a website and putting in credit card details every month or every quarter. That does not make sense for insurance, for my electric bills, gas bills, and so on. Now, some things, many things, I suppose, need to be bought not automatically, but they need to be done from a buying decision. Every time you go to the store, every time you fill up your car, you get some fuel in your car, some gas, some petrol, as we call it here in Australia. You are making a decision. But even then, you can automate to a very large extent, because the risk here is that you are going to be spending too much of your precious time on little things, on things that don't really matter very much. So automate, that's the first one. And you would be surprised how many things you can set up that will just keep working without you. Now, it doesn't only apply to bills. I use this I in so many different places that I can. I try to get things organized, and I try to get my head organized and get things in place so that they will run without me. The goal is not to be working longer. The goal is not to be putting in more effort. The goal is whatever the goal is, okay, is not, all right. So with paying bills, the goal is that you don't want to be getting a reminder. You don't want to be getting a shock reminder. So anything that you can do to smooth out that cycle and to automate it is worthwhile, with this one mm, caveat, which is that the more you automate, the more subscriptions you have, the easier it is for those to slip under the radar. And so you may end up paying for something, paying double insurance for two different things. Both, basically, there's a lot of crossover overlap in those in that insurance and what's insured. So it's worthwhile keeping that in mind. Now, so that's the first one, is automation. The second one is systems. So systems means that you have a procedure, you have a process in place, and even though it is not something that is absolutely automated, you have the steps in place. And the more you have those steps really nice and clear, nice and easy, the easier it is for you to get that thing done, especially for things that are repeat activities, repeat projects. And this can apply even with things like loading the dishwasher or catching public transport. Just having things ready, having things organized, having things in place is really, really valuable. And so systems, get yourself set up with systems. And systems does not have to mean buying software or getting apps. A system could be a little checklist that you have of 5 points written on a card. And just as I do that, I've just got a checklist of something that I am learning, a programming language that I'm learning at the moment. And I've written down just 5 6 points that are really, really critical, that are commands that I use that are going to help me to learn this faster. Okay, all on a very small card, on a little menu card, an index card. So systems is number two. The first one was automation. The second one is systems. The third one is habits. So the idea with a habit is that it is so deeply ingrained in you that you don't have to spend a lot of time or anxiety or stress or gather a lot of information. It comes almost second nature to you. Now, even if you don't master the whole thing with the habit, let's say it comes down to, let's say it's something like cooking or writing an email or writing a reminder to somebody and sending a message to somebody, even if it's not all uh, ingrained in you, it's not all habitual, it's worth developing a habit so that you can say, hey, I know broadly how this happens. And you can always keep improving on that habit. Now, I said that I would give you 3 things that are going to help prevent procrastination. And those 3 things all do. Automation, because there's nothing to procrastinate about because it's going to happen anyway. Systems, because you have a method, you have a methodology in place that you can pull out when you have to go and do this particular task. I know that when I need to get my pool filter started, if it's stuck, I know I have a procedure in place where I've got to check this, I've got to check this basket, and I've got to check this bucket, and I've got to make sure the water flow is okay and the pressure is there. I've got a series of things that I do, and I don't have to look them up each time because I know it's that same set, that same system. And then habits, well, they come to you because you have developed them over maybe even many years. But you can develop habits much faster. Now, I mentioned that I might, and so all of those are going to help you not procrastinate, help you to avoid procrastination. But the fourth one, kind of related to habits especially, is to develop a skill. So if there is, so for example, for me, I'm using Microsoft Excel at the moment in one of my jobs, and it's not an easy thing to master Excel, but I don't need to master it, but I can develop some skills that are going to put me a little bit ahead of others who are doing things really, really manually. And developing those skills, they're not yet habits, they're not systems, and definitely not automated yet. But developing those skills is once again a way of kind of in, leaning to your strengths. Okay, because you know that, well, I've got the skill there, and then even if all of my work got destroyed, I would be able to rebuild it much faster the second time because I've got the skills. And so it is really worth developing skills, especially in those areas that you find particularly annoying, but that you are being called to apply those skills quite frequently. So until next time, fight perfectionism and procrastination and keep implementing. Once again, I'm Anthony English, and this is the Learn to Implement podcast.